Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm Ling Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's stories. Authorities in Los Angeles are sending a team to help residents in Turkey following a massive earthquake. Among those going overseas are firefighters and doctors. Vigils were held in many cities around the world for Doctor Li Wenliang, one of the whistleblowers who first warned of the CCP virus. At a vigil in Los Angeles, a man was arrested for disrupting the event. More snow piled up in the Sierra Mountains. Some areas recorded over 400 inches of snow so far this season. President Biden gave his annual State of the Union address. In the days leading up to it, our reporters asked locals across the state to hear their perspectives on issues from the economy to foreign affairs.
Regarding the State of the Union, do you think our country is on the right track right now?
No.
Why?
Well, inflation, corporations taking advantage of poor. Now the Republicans are in charge, they want to cut Social Security. They say they don't, but they actually do. Things like that.
I would like to see the country back to where it was before, prior to the Biden administration. I would like to see our country be united. We're so divided right now.
Depends what you mean by the country. Are you talking about the government, or are you talking about the people? Because if you talk about the people, I think that most people really are good and want to, do what's right. The government right now, both sides, there's so much dysfunction. There's so much hostility. I don't know if you call it anger, but disagreement between two. Everybody's got their egos going, and nobody wants to give.
But others felt differently.
Somehow we're doing okay, but we need more improvement in health, education.
I'd say we're on the right track with regard to a lot of things. I mean, some things we're not, like I said, gun control. The fact that there's just a lot of disinformation that's readily being promulgated, and the fact that, there's a lot of things like, the banning of books for kids. These kind of things I just don't think are healthy.
Everyone had different feelings about how our country is doing for a variety of reasons. But one issue that impacts people directly is inflation.
One taco or one burrito used to be like $10, now is $17. This is what I just pay now.
Of course, yes, especially, price of the gas. I'm driving a car at I use gas.
But others don't see inflation as a pressing issue.
It's about the same, to be honest with you. It hasn't really changed. I don't think inflation or whatever they claim is happening at this point in time has really been a factor, to be honest with you.
We also asked how people felt about the current migration situation at the California-Mexico border.
I think the United States is a country where immigration is welcomed, but I think it should be under some control.
They should definitely stop. I mean, right now, because I see the struggle of our own people here, how we're struggling, and we're always helping all the other countries. But it's good that we help our neighbors, but we got to help our neighbors. Our immediate neighbors are here, the one in our own country, because there's so many homeless now.
It's the human trafficking is just terrible. What they've done to the children and that are being mistreated, and it's terrible. It's an awful situation. There's no control, nothing there. They won't let the border patrol people do what they have to do.
Others say they are not to worry about the border, but agree that there needs to be a better control on illegal crossings.
I mean, I think they should control the influx. I think the majority of the people, if I'm not mistaken, are seeking asylum, which is legal. So, that's what America's founded upon. So I think if they're definitely illegal, if they're coming across illegally, not seeking asylum, I think that should be handled.
If we don't have migrant workers, the price of things go up, and you can't find Americans who want to do that kind of work. So it doesn't make sense to block them out.
Regardless of which side people are on and what issues matter most to them, everyone agreed that needs to be more unity and a stronger leadership.
yeah, there's no leadership leading this country, and it's also on the other side too. On the conservative side, we got to get more people to get involved and get this country back on track.
In addition to locals' perspectives, 2 Republican officials delivered the GOP response to this year's State of the Union address. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Arizona Representative Juan Ciscomani gave their speeches following Biden's address, just as House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell announced last week. In Los Angeles, authorities are sending help to Turkey after a large earthquake. Among them, the team of rescuers are firefighters and doctors.
On Monday, the Los Angeles County Fire Department sent help and rescue teams to Turkey after a devastating 7.8 earthquake killed thousands of people earlier in the day. In a news conference, Fire Chief Anthony Maroney said they are deploying a 78-member rescue team consisting of rescue specialists, firefighters, paramedics, doctors, search and rescue dogs, and structural engineers.
Yes, we have 6 pallets of supplies, so when they go, they will be self-sufficient for a number of days while they search and rescue people that are trapped under the rubble following that devastating earthquake.
The team will be working for the United States Agency for International Development. The LA County Fire Department has extensive experience in finding survivors and helping with recovery efforts, both in the U.S. and abroad.
They're going to depart from March Air Force Base. They're going to fly in a military C-17 directly to Turkey. I believe that they're flying into Incirlik Air Base in Turkey, and then they will be driven to the area where they need to start their search and rescue operations.
Maroney says they will stay there anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks, depending on Turkey's needs. On Tuesday, the Turkish president declared a state of emergency in 10 provinces. The earthquakes killed more than 6,300 people. The freezing winter weather added to the plight of the thousands left injured or homeless and hampered efforts to find survivors. The 7.8 magnitude quake on Monday brought down whole apartment blocks in Turkish cities and piled more devastation on millions of Syrians displaced by years of war. It struck before sunrise, followed by a large aftershock. In 1999, a tremor of similar magnitude devastated the heavily populated eastern Marmara Sea region near Istanbul, killing more than 17,000.
Vigils were held in many cities around the world for Doctor Li Wenliang, one of the whistleblowers who first warned of the CCP virus. At a vigil in Los Angeles, a man was arrested for disrupting the event.
Over the weekend, vigils around the world were held for Doctor Li Wenliang, one of the doctors who first sounded the alarm 3 years ago over the dangers of the CCP virus which causes COVID-19. At that time, it was known only as an unknown pneumonia spreading in Wuhan. Dr. Li was quickly silenced by Chinese authorities for, quote, spreading rumors, and later died of the virus on February 7, 2020. In Los Angeles, around 50 people gathered outside the city's Chinese consulate to mourn Dr. Li. A man attacked the event and was later arrested by police. Event participants say he's a Chinese student. Attendees said they refused to forget the first whistleblower who sounded the alarm about the COVID-19 pandemic in Wuhan, as well as others who died of the virus. What's more, they say they won't forgive the Chinese Communist Party for what its handling caused over the last 3 years.
The blustery storm over the weekend added more to California's snowpack. Some places saw over 400 inches of snow this season.
A weekend storm added to California's big mountain snowpack, leaving icy conditions in the Sierra Nevada early Monday. Trains were required on sections of Sierra highways. A backcountry avalanche warning for the greater Lake Tahoe area expired around sunrise. According to the California Department of Transportation, for a time on Sunday, about 74 miles of US 395 were closed due to whiteout conditions. The storm dropped 16 to 24 inches of snow at Mammoth Mountain in the eastern Sierra. So far, its main lodge surpassed 400 inches this season.
We are going to take a short break, but here's a look at what we got for you when we come back. A startup company is looking to use rocks to soak up carbon dioxide from the air. The goal is to mineralize the gas in concrete. A Hollywood resident was recently arrested for threatening his neighbors. Police found weapons in his home, but no indication of plans to carry out a shooting. And U-C Berkeley recently fired a swim coach. This follows an investigation that alleged the coach abused and harassed swim team members. That and more on California Today. A California startup using rocks to soak up carbon dioxide from the air has teamed up with a Canadian company to mineralize the gas in concrete. The goal is to remove carbon from the atmosphere and store it somewhere else. It will be the first of its kind.
Heirloom Carbon Technologies collected 66 pounds of CO2 from the air and delivered it to neighboring Central Concrete, a Vulcan Materials subsidiary. The gathered amount is equivalent to driving about 75 miles in a car. There, they put the gas into new concrete. Heirloom heats crushed limestone to release naturally absorbed CO2, then puts the CO2-starved rock on columns of huge trays. They act like sponges, soaking up close to half their weight in gas over 3 days. The rock is then heated to release the collected ambient carbon dioxide, and the cycle repeats.
Now, limestone is a natural mineral. It is one of the most abundant minerals that our Earth has, and it is actually the second most mined material on the planet. And limestone has this natural ability to pull carbon out of the atmosphere. The problem is it's just slow. So what we do here is just give it more superpowers to make it pull carbon much faster than it otherwise would. So what you're looking at here is we are taking limestone and spreading them out on trays and vertically stacking those trays and exposing it to the air. As the CO2 is brought in by the air, this limestone pulls up that carbon and sequesters it in the mineral.
Canada's Carbon Cure, the concrete technology company, mixes CO2 with concrete ingredients, turning it into a mineral that makes the concrete stronger, cutting the need for cement. Carbon Cure incorporates the gas into water used to clean out trucks. The CO2 reacted with leftover ingredients and then was put into a new batch of concrete.
But what's really key here is it also provides a performance benefit for that concrete. It gives it higher strength, which allows concrete producers to be able to optimize their production, so they may require less cement.
The joint effort on February 1st was the first time that carbon sucked from the atmosphere using such direct air capture technology had been secured in concrete, where the CO2 will stay put for centuries.
A Hollywood resident was arrested last week for allegedly making threatening comments to neighbors and staff at a residential high-rise. Police say there was no immediate indication that he was planning to carry out a mass shooting. 25-year-old Braxton Johnson was charged last Thursday with 2 counts of possession of an assault weapon, 1 count of criminal threats, and 1 count of solicitation of murder. Johnson was arrested late Tuesday night when police responded to reports of a man suffering a mental health crisis. That led to a search of the man's 18th floor apartment at the Lumina Hollywood building at Sunset Boulevard and Gordon Street. Police seized the 3 rifles, a shotgun, and the 3 semi-automatic pistols. Hundreds of rounds of ammunition were also seized, along with the tactical gear. Authorities say at least one of the weapons was aimed toward the apartment window, pointing toward a park below. According to a press release, the LAPD says, quote, "There are no indications that any persons were threatened with a firearm, nor have we identified any intent by Johnson to plan a mass shooting incident. We're working with our federal partners to exhaust all investigative leads and believe there is no threat to the public." The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office is reviewing the case, and Johnson is being held on a $1 million bail. U-C Berkeley fired a former Olympic swim coach following allegations of abuse and harassment. This follows an investigation that alleges verbal and emotional abuse.
U-C Berkeley fired women's swimming coach Terry McKeever. The coach allegedly harassed, bullied, and verbally abused swimmers. The independent investigation report alleges that McKeever violated university policy by verbally and emotionally abusing swimmers on an almost daily basis and pressured athletes to compete or train while injured or dealing with chronic illnesses. Cal Director of Athletics Jim Knowlton said, quote, "Part ways with McKeever was in the best interests of the student athletes and Cal Athletics as a whole." McKeever led the Golden Bears to 4 NCAA team titles over 29 years. She coached the U.S. women's swim team at the London Olympics in 2012. She was the first woman to serve in that role.
The Shenyang Performing Arts wrapped up 4 performances in Sacramento. The audience say they felt privileged to see a performance that cannot be seen in China today.
In Sacramento, audience members marvel at the Shenyang Performing Arts artistry.
I love the combination of the spirituality with the music, the dancing, and just the colors, the visual. I mean, just everything together. Wow. I mean, it's like a gourmet meal with, different ingredients blended together, and then you get this unbelievable, entree. It was great.
I was especially struck by just how the ancient nature of some of the moves have become the sort of the today's modern dance started from this, thousands of years ago. They're very inspiring.
I was amazed to see that so many young people playing so well, incredibly well, really tight, and the compositions were phenomenal. I was taken by the harpist and the 2-string violin. I thought that was phenomenal.
It fills my heart. It gives me almost a spiritual moment.
Audience members say Shenyang is doing an important job of reviving traditional Chinese culture.
So the main impetus was I love watching dance and I appreciate it, but also just the courage and the appreciation for the divine, the reverence, and just the incredible hard work and just sacrifices that were made to be able to keep this culture alive, and to resurrect it, I guess, is what I'm impressed with.
I really appreciated the genuine cultural and ethnic pieces, the elements that I would not otherwise see or know about, and the fact that it's special because it can't happen in China, which is a shame.
Under the Chinese Communist Party, those with faith are persecuted for their beliefs, as depicted in some of Shenyang's pieces. It is an essential part of China's ancient heritage, which was nearly lost. Shenyang cannot be seen in China today.
The message is freedom. The message is love, enlightenment, music. He said that in the ancient days that they would heal with music. And this really is a healing experience. I mean, it really was. There were many times where it actually brought tears to my eyes.
NTD News, Sacramento, California.
Now let's check in with NTD's Tyler Castillo for today's Sports Roundup.
Welcome everyone, I'm Tyler Castillo and I'm taking you through the California Today Sports Roundup.
Klay Thompson cashed in an NBA season-high 12 three-pointers en route to 42 points while teammate Jordan Poole aided the cause with a career-best 12 assists. In a 141-114 triumph over the Oklahoma City Thunder on Monday night in San Francisco. Thompson shot 12 for 16 from beyond the arc, becoming just the second player in NBA history with 12 or more threes in multiple games. Thompson also holds the NBA record for three-pointers in a game with 14. Stephen Curry sidelined after sustaining a ligament damage in his left knee in Golden State's win over the Dallas Mavericks on Saturday, is the only other player with 12 or more threes on more than one occasion. Poole finished with 21 points, while Andrew Wiggins added 18 for the Warriors, who earned their second consecutive win. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 20 points and Aaron Wiggins scored 19 for Oklahoma City, which lost for the third time in the past 4 games. Kawhi Leonard hit the go-ahead three-pointer with 2:46 remaining as Los Angeles ended a 6-game road trip with a hard-fought victory over Brooklyn in New York. Leonard, who scored 24 points, put the Clippers ahead for good with 2:46 remaining when he hit a three-pointer over Cam Thomas from the left side for a 114-113 lead. After Leonard made 2 free throws with 2:13 left, Thomas missed a 3 that would have tied the game with 1:57 to go. Leonard would then seize the opportunity and find Ivica Zubac for a dunk that made it 118-113 with 1:41 remaining. Paul George scored 29 points for the Clippers, while Zubac added 19 points and 12 rebounds. Thomas scored a career-high 47 points, becoming the second youngest player in NBA history to score at least 40 points in consecutive games. Clippers 124, Nets 116. Keegan Murray scored a career-high 30 points and drilled 8 three-pointers as Sacramento rode a balanced attack to a victory over host Houston. Murray was one of 6 players to score in double figures for the Kings, who shot a 58.4% overall while connecting on 8 of 12 three-pointers. De'Aaron Fox paired 16 points with 8 assists in his return from a 2-game absence, while Domantas Sabonis recorded a double-double with 17 points and 10 assists. Jalen Green added the Rockets with 27 points. Eric Gordon added 16 points and a team-high 8 assists as Houston dropped its 3rd straight game. Kings 140, Rockets 120. The 49ers have decided to go with an external candidate to be their next defensive coordinator. San Francisco will hire Steve Wilks as the heir to one of the league's most dominant defenses this upcoming season. Wilks served as the Panthers' interim head coach after Matt Rule was fired during the 2022 season, compiling a 6-6 record with the club. The 49ers needed a new defensive coordinator after DeMeco Ryans departed the organization to become the Texans' head coach. Wilks has previously run a 4-3 base defense, which provides some continuity with what the 49ers were running before. Head coach Kyle Shanahan previously said he wanted to keep a lot of things similar for 2023 with whoever became the team's next coordinator. The last 2 49ers defensive coordinators, Robert Saleh and Ryans, have both left the organization to become head coaches, further cementing San Francisco's reputation as a coaching hotbed.
And thank you for tuning in for the Sports Roundup for today.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm Liang Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.